is how to avoid the supplement scam in your health routine. If you feel like the benefits you're seeing from your health routine have hit a plateau, imagine discovering that your go to supplements might not be as effective as you thought. There's a game changing approach that transformed not just my wellness, but my entire perspective on supplements. Let's dive into why sticking to a supplement from one company could be holding you back and how a little variation can lead to big health benefits. And if you're new here, I'm Dr. Gala Gorman, a licensed acupuncturist, naturopath, and author of What's Your Kryptonite? I wrote the book to help women understand the effects of chronic stress that's turned toxic. In the book, I share the MOLT method I developed to make it easy to shed stress along with the accumulated toxicity, just like any other creature in nature that's outgrown its trappings, so that you can cruise through midlife and beyond symptom free, so that you can put an end to health issues like chronic fatigue, insomnia, mood swings, and even weight gain. My beloved Westie, his name was Duncan. And Duncan was getting up in years. He was probably 10 years old at the time. And we had moved to another area. And he was really struggling, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. And I'd taken him to the vet. The vet couldn't figure out what was wrong. And finally, he kind of hit the point where I knew something was really drastically wrong with him. And so I called my vet, who was a good friend as well, back where we lived previously. And I said, Doc Yock, like there is something really wrong with Duncan. What do you suggest? He said, well, he had actually gone to school in this area. And so he said, take him to the emergency clinic downtown and they'll know they'll figure it out. They'll know what to do. And so he spent New Year's weekend at the emergency clinic in downtown, and they diagnosed him with a severe UTI, urinary tract infection, that had essentially spread to his spine. And so they had to put him on mega doses of antibiotics, which did knock it out, but not surprisingly, in true UTI fashion and considering the way antibiotics work, it came back. And fortunately, it's a story for another day, but I figured out how to deal with it. So just know that if you get recurrent, you comment below this video and I'll point you to somewhere that you can get a little more information about how to deal with these current infections. But the thing I want you to know here is that I had fed Duncan the same food every day his entire life. When he was a puppy, he obviously got like the little puppy size kibble of it. But when he was an adult dog, he was put on a really high quality food, but he ate the same food every day of his life. And so in my quest to figure out how to help him and improve his health overall, I went to the doggy health food store and some extremely knowledgeable ladies explained to me that our pets are really no different than us. And we shouldn't be eating the same thing every day. And definitely our pets should not be eating the same thing every day either. And so I put him on a rotation of 3 different foods. They also suggested, as you're rotating foods, to mix foods from different manufacturers, essentially to create different blends of all these micronutrients, of all these different sources to help maintain his healthy digestive tract. And so we can apply this exact same process to ourselves. We want to have diversity in what we're eating. We want to have diversity in where our food comes from. And then if we're supplementing, we want to also supplement with diversity, meaning we're going to get things from different companies. So the important thing to apply, I guess, and the way I usually recommend women do this is to take something for 3 weeks and then take a week off. So if you have a regimen that you follow, just the way I do it, just to make it convenient, I make 3 weeks of packets with everything I want to take, especially the things that I want to take with food, because if I eat out, I know I'm going to want that with me. So I'll make 21 packets for 3 weeks, and then I take a week off. And then I kind of reevaluate, and some of these things that we're talking about here today, these things that you would take on an ongoing basis, like a multivitamin and essential fatty acids and that sort of thing, you're going to switch the source. So you're going to switch brands of your multivitamin, and you're going to just mix it up in that way, and that's really important to improve your biodiversity. Most of us have issues with gut health, and so this will really help to restore your microbiome and to improve your gut health. Again, obviously you need to make sure that you are taking really good, high quality version from a good supplier. That actually brings us to the next topic or the next point, and that is we potentially are buying things that aren't even what we think we're buying. So I talked to a manufacturer at one point, and I asked, like, why wouldn't somebody just go to Amazon? It's so convenient, right? Why wouldn't you just go to Amazon and get your supplements? And there's a couple of reasons that is not in your best interest. One is that if the supplement is coming from someone of any sort of store that isn't the actual manufacturer, then you have no idea whether that is actually authentic and whether they maintain the quality. It could literally be 100% fake. And I know that's hard to believe. I was extremely shocked whenever I heard that the first time, but these scammers literally buy the real thing. They get, what color everything is and how it's packaged, and they literally recreate all that packaging. And, when you say, well, why doesn't Amazon do something about it? Well, enough people have to complain, enough people have to send it back. And because so many people take supplements randomly, you never know whether it just didn't work for you or whether this was really a fake. And so just say no to buying your supplements on Amazon unless you're buying directly from the manufacturer's store. Next thing I will say is that somebody, just like you've got a prescribing physician, somebody needs to understand all these things that you're taking if you're incorporating these supplements into your regimen. And so it's important for you to have, I call it like a quarterback, right? So if your physician has prescribed medication to you, then hopefully that person will be able to kind of help you. But if your physician isn't really helpful, I suggest that you work with somebody who's actually prescribing these supplements for you, that you're getting a high quality supplement and that you are taking things that actually are going to address the problem. Because if you're taking things that are not addressing the problem you have, then you're just adding toxicity to an already toxic situation. One more thing, actually, before we move on to the next thing I want to talk to you about here today, is just to remember that some manufacturers are actually just buying the supplement, whatever that supplement is, and they're putting their own label on it. So it's important, if this is a supplement that you want to include in your routine, it's important to ask, you know, are you manufacturing this yourself with your own proprietary process and ingredients? Or are you essentially putting your own label on somebody else's product? Because if that's the case, then this source diversity is not being addressed. You're essentially taking the same thing, even though the bottle looks different. Does that make sense? So, just a few things to keep in mind. I talked to somebody, I had purchased a supplement. This was many years ago now, but I had purchased a supplement that promised to do something amazing. Don't they all, right? And so I took the supplement, it didn't do a darn thing. And there were all these testimonials that said the supplement worked fantastic, right? And so I'm thinking, well, what's wrong with me, right? Why won't it work? That you probably think the same thing. And so I actually talked to somebody that had worked for one of these companies, and she said that typically what happens is in the beginning, they manufacture their formula really high quality ingredients. And then typically what happens is they want to scale, and either they can't get those ingredients um, in the quantity that they need them, or one of the ingredients really drastically goes up in price. So now they start replacing with substitutes. And the next thing you know, they have a formula that does not work at all. And so it's really important to understand that this happens. And again, if you are working with a practitioner that regularly recommends supplements, that practitioner typically will keep, stay on top of it, knowing which supplement manufacturers are really maintaining their quality, and that, the money you're spending on supplements and the fact that you're, introducing them into a body that's, trying to reduce toxicity, not, add to it, that, all these considerations are taken into account, and that the right recommendation is made so that you can get the benefits that you deserve from committing the resources to improve your health. In my next video, I'll show you how to manage the toxic stress that's sabotaging your efforts. You can eliminate symptoms naturally without medication, crazy diets, intense exercise, or any other unsustainable lifestyle hack.